Hello, storytelling Ron. I'm going to do a ranty political video. Kind of getting tired of them all because we're just winning and it's been awesome, and I just kind of want to bask in there the fight that's going on. For the Trump movement. He had me at they're sending their rapists when he came down the escalator, and I didn't even know back then. I just knew him from The Apprentice. I mean, I knew who he was and all, but I didn't know he was becoming Republican, conservative, whatever. And then when he when he was part of the presidential campaign with the 20 other candidates, I just assumed he was just going to color and all that. But when he said that, I was like, oh, this guy is actually saying what we're all thinking, but the others won't say it. And he really changed it from a rhino party to pick your side party. There's no fence sitters, and that's what a lot of Republicans were doing. And that's what happened to the GOP before the GOP. I forgot the name of them, but they were the ones in opposition to the Democrats, and before Civil War, and they kind of kept compromising, and they kept trying to work it out with the Democrats. And that's when the Grand Old Party came into power. It was part of the abolition movement, and they exploded because I forgot what the name of the pre-Republicans were. They just kept rhinoing. They kept weakening and softening, trying to compromise. My point here is evil is evil. You don't compromise with evil. You don't have to kill it. You don't have to, and as a Christian, you don't have to kill it. You don't have to terrorize it. You don't have to genocide it. You don't have to enslave it. You don't have to conquer it. We are free to just rebuke them. We are the messengers. That's Calvinism, by the way. Predestination, elect. In the sense of, and I'm not trying to preach to you to be a Calvinist, but I'm just saying it makes life a little easier and more understandable. Why does evil do evil? Because they're made that way. Why do people not choose the truth? They're made to lie. Here, I'm kind of doing a rant, so let me get full camera here. Why do people not choose the truth? If you're a Christian, Jesus is the truth. God, Jesus, Holy Spirit is the truth. So why do people then not choose the truth? Is it because you didn't explain it well to them? Maybe it's your fault then. Is it because they are being lied to and sort of bamboozled? So do you think then when they die, they go to hell because they were suckered by the lie? Do you think God would allow a good soul to be suckered by the lie and then and spend eternal, in hell because they just didn't know better? God is sovereign, so He chooses who's saved and who isn't. That's Calvinism. And I as a Calvinist, don't look at you and say, "Oh, you're good or evil." Well, I kind of do, but just as God even loves the evil that He created, I love the evil that is created you. I hate it. But Jesus said, "Love the enemy." Thusly, we as the good need to treat everyone as good. That's what good does. We treat everyone fairly, whether they're evil or whether they're the sinners and the unchosen and the wicked, and we don't differentiate. We treat them the same with our love, with our commission, with our messaging, with our rebuking. I rebuke Christians equally to Muslims, Democrats, evil, whatever. I rebuke them equally. And I rebuke Christians. That's Calvinism. Calvinism is we treat everyone exactly the same, whether they're good or evil. But in Calvinism, we understand now that we can't convert our own sons and daughters like who become believers. We try, we explain it to them, we lovingly do that. But if they choose to go off and do evil, God has has made them that way, and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, you keep trying, and you keep praying that, dear God, please, please my child, my sister, or my brother, or my Father, please save them. I don't want them to be one of the unchosen, but it's your will, God. And it gives us a peace because God knows better than us about our family members and loved ones, what's in their hearts, truly. No Christian father or mother wants God to give them an unbelieving child, right? But in humility, we have to accept that. And in the end, we kind of do, as they grow up, as they start choosing really bad things, we're like, Thankfully, my daughters love the Lord and love pursuing it and see the truth. So obviously God sees me as a wussy. Just obviously he sees me as a wuss and can't handle the truth, can't handle harshness in life, although my life's not over yet, so I don't know. But grandchildren, I don't know. I don't know. Are they all going to be believers or not? I'm going to try everything I can to help them with apologetics and creation science and joy and love. And that's something I'm worried about and pray for my daughters. That their lives will be at peace. But in the end, we gotta see Christ for our joy, our salvation, our the end times, the happiness, the ultimate justice, the ultimate love, the ultimate truth. That's what makes us happy, is that we know that everyone is going to get their comeuppance. Everyone, for good or bad. And even those that are chosen, who choose to be lazy in their life, they're going to get their comeuppance in that sense too. Hopefully I will be a janitor in heaven, and I will be joyful, and hopefully he'll let me be a janitor. But I do believe I'm going to heaven because of my constant pursuit of the Lord, Okay, so let's go to this. And by the way, for the Lord, how do you serve the Lord? I'm going to talk again. What's the best way to serve the Lord? Serve the church, in some capacity, whether you give them money, whether you become a doorman and give them money, whatever. Tithing is obviously the simplest way, and then you can be productive in your life. But if you're productive in your life and you're sinning, addicted to pornography or addicted to lust or addicted to whatever, anger, whatever, you need to go to fellowship and you need to deal with it. You need to focus. But if you're at peace and you're a good person and you just give the church money and then you go to church regularly and help out when you can, you can say no to any of the volunteer things, but help out when you can. Give them money and then do whatever, minimal, at peace, humble. That's good. But if you want to do other things and do more things for the Lord, then you just kind of find things to do. But make sure it's joyful. It's got to be joyful, right? It can't be you're stressing and you're hating and you're getting into arguments with other Christians. If you are, that's a sign that this is probably not what you should be doing. Take a step back. Be humble. Don't let people sucker you at the church into doing things that you don't want to do. I mean, try them. Do try things because you may like it. You never know. But step back if you become stressed and, or resentful or whatever. Don't do stuff that out of guilt. That's not the Christian way. Okay. And take your time. Have it be organic. Don't push it too hard. Trust me. Trust me. I know about that. Okay. So why do they lie? Here's another thing. I'm going to go back to the camera. Okay. This relates to this. This is something that Christians, we've actually had a hard time in history. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and this is absolutely, I was Catholic. I love Jesus. I love the whole concept of it emotionally, but I was never apologetic, never understood it all. And here's something, though, that we felt like, and I was very liberal, too. We felt like you really can't lie. People can't lie. They lie, but then they'll get corrected. There'll be we thought that as a liberals that truth would always win out in the end when you had enough people together, good, caring people. And that is the wrong think, dumb think. Because it took us, I think, until really Trump's second term for at least for the establishment, politicians to realize that you can, he brought it out. He thankfully he and the movement brought out. I mean, we Christians kind of knew this already, and I was learning this on my own. Like, especially through NPR, people in mass groups will lie. They will cover up. They will lie together. They will nod along, whatever it is, their secret nod, their secret submission to, in mass hysteria, mass psychological, they will lie. They will push the lie. We were bludgeoned. We were bombarded with lies for decades, and we believed in it because we were bombarded with it. We were bombarded with evolution. We were bombarded with margarine and fake oils and seed oils and non-fat stuff, and we all just got fatter. We were bombarded that was good. I mean, we were bombarded with it on commercials, products. We thought that they could not be lying if that many people were doing it on commercials, corporations making all these fast processed foods. We didn't think that they could be that lying and deceiving even unto themselves. So we just believed that margarine had to be healthy. It had to be because they were telling us it was. They gave us so many animations of clotted arteries because we ate too much fat. These lies were on TV shows, on kids shows. There was these animations of stuff like that in the public schools. We learned all these things that are lies about our health, about evolution, about the climate. We were bombarded with global cooling on front cover of magazines and big articles, and we just thought that the scientists could not lie because they were using the scientific method, right, and peer review. So there's no way they could be lying. And we were bombarded. We put science above the Bible, above God's word, because we thought, oh, they got to be telling the truth because it's all based on science. It's all based on facts. And it turns out it was all a lie. I mean, all being majority. It was all a lie. The health thing was a lie. When Atkins came out with the Atkins diet, he was attacked over and over. And I it was the keto, it was the pre-carnivore, pre-keto diet. And he was proving that sugars and carbs that we were being thrown at non-fat type diets were destructive to us. And it was statistically, we were getting fatter and unhealthier, as we know today. We were being lied to at a massive institutional level, academic level, that even Atkins was attacked and attacked over and over. Dr. Atkins was singularly trying to get us to realize that the non-fat diet was destroying us. And he was attacked over and over. And now, finally it's coming back out, and they can't stop the floodgates of it now that it's opened. But think about it. We were lied to, peer-reviewed lied to, massive corporate lies, deceptions on the test results and all that. So only in the last 10, 20, 30 years have we started to figure that out. And we Christians, through creation science, have started to figure that out. And now, the MAGA movement is figuring it out. We are being lied to on a massive scale. And how is that possible? How can people choose a lie openly, knowing they're lying to you, you knowing they're lying, they know they're lying, and yet still lie? How can that be? How can deceptions like this, I'm going to go through this bit here, be without it being a spiritual war? And God has set up the chess pieces. He's set up the game board and the pieces, the good and the evil, right? You can't have a matrix without there being evil and death, and he's done that. He's given us this freedom because when we go to heaven, we only get the good stuff, and it's going to be pretty easy to be a child up there. Here, he's giving us hardcore the blues, right? The music, the blues. He's giving us hardcore epic conquests and battles and military and good versus evil, and are you a knight or a coward or whatever? What I mean? He's giving us an epic story, and he came down to show you he knows our pain and suffering, and will take the pain and suffering to prove to us all that he understands what world we're in. He loves us. He's telling us how to love, how to be good, even in this evil world, and he will suffer terribly, be tortured and publicly mocked, shamed in front of everyone, tortured, so we all could watch. He will do that in front of us to let us know. And I kind of wonder if he was naked, because they generally put him up naked. We don't like to think that way, so, which is totally fine. I get that. But humiliated in the most obscene public torture way, and to prove to us he knows what we're going through, and he's going to go through it too, because he gave us this game to play. It's the ultimate game. And he's going to play it too with us to show you that he knows what we're going through. That's kind of he's taking our sins for us, and we're all going to be sinners, and that's the thing too. We're all sinners. So why don't we understand that about the mass psychosis that's going on? We are all by default sinners. We are not by default good. Atheists teach that. Liberals teach that. We can get to the good of people. No, we cannot get to the good of people because they got all this freaking sin and lie. The peer review doesn't work. It's taken over by atheists, and it doesn't work. They don't follow it. And it gets so inbred, the lies, that they continually build up on the lies, the inbred lies, for their theories and hypotheses. Their theories are now so intertwined with 10, 20, 30, 200 other lies within that they've accepted from all the previous lies of scientific results, that it's just now no one even peer reviews anymore because it's too waste of a time. So let's just follow it. Don't get me started. Okay, let's go back to this. So the media here, so tough. Okay, so the media is claiming here. Here, let me go to the list here. So they did a search here, not to be, that Trump was wearing blue suits, and he was so, how dare he, blah, blah, blah. And they're showing all these pictures of Trump in a blue suit, but here's a wider photo of the people, and more than like almost half are in blue suits. How can the media do this? How can Fortune, USA Today, New York Times, The Independent, Hindustan Times, India Today, whatever, Newsday, okay, some of these others. Newsweek at least did a little bit of a back, but how can they do this? Oh, and here's like Democrat minions on X trying to, apparently they're not on Sky Blue anymore. They're back on X. Dude really wore a blue suit, not even black or navy at least, but blue. That looks navy blue to me. Totally embarrassing and disrespectful. I mean, it's just like, there is strict dress code. Who's Morgan Freeman? I don't even know. Don't even care. Post-funeral requiring men to wear black suits and long black ties. So this is the picture he's using, but he's not going to use this picture here. Unless this is Photoshop and you'll tell me. Why are there Muslims in there too? They're total enemies of the Catholic Church. I don't know. It's just, why do they do this? Why do they just lie? And it shows, I think down here Biden is wearing a blue suit. Isn't that amazing? These are institutional, established, and there's tens to dozens to scores of people having to affirm these articles before they even go out. And then there are hundreds of thousands of likes. Here, this guy, it says he got 417,000 likes because of the claiming that Trump wore a blue suit. How can 400,000? So people believe the lie, they want the lie, they follow the lie. Why do they do this? And this is just such a simple, silly thing. Yet people want these lies. I know people personally who want these lies and who spout these lies. It's a fetus. That's what they want. That's what they believe. How you tell them the truth. They know the truth is the truth, but they will not accept the truth that it is a child. This is a boy. This is a girl. They don't even accept that truth. They accept the lie. They accept. How is that possible unless you're, without being a Calvinist as a Christian, How can you persuade someone that a woman is a woman, a man is a man, that a child is a child, and they don't accept it, and they claim they're a Christian, or not, or even non-believers? How can they accept those lies? These lies that sort of continually perpetuate. Isn't it amazing? All right, let me go to this horrifying story of this woman. This female pilot crashed in the United Airlines jet, ignored warnings from her male co-pilot. Let's talk about it. I believe she absolutely did it not on purpose. She's total Biden person. She was in the Biden White House. I believe she murdered herself, genocided herself. I believe that's what she did. And remember, the media tried to cover up that there was a female pilot, which is so pathetic. Why do men and women are different. Men and women are different. Just making sure my wife's not listening. She's not here. She's making money and I'm not, so. Men and women are different. The crash was caused by pilot error, period. It wasn't an error. She did it on purpose. There's no way you can fly. She did it on purpose. I think the co-pilot too, he was shocked. 15 seconds in, he ordered her to turn. And imagine what she's doing, what she's about, like the realization of what she's actually doing. I'm assuming he didn't have a stick, and she was actually above him as far as rank, even though she's freaking useless. Okay, so it doesn't even say until the 34th paragraph of this article. But 15 seconds before the collision that she needed to turn. I believe he ordered her to, even though she was above him, and she wouldn't do it. 15 seconds. I mean, and he's like, he was probably in shock. This is just evil. It's just evil that they're lying to women that they can handle these things under stress, and two, men could barely handle it. So why are you throwing women at this? Men can barely handle this military journey that they're on, and yet we think women can do it. Women are not built to be soldiers and fighters and responsible for heavy machinery. They're just not. They're not. And women have plenty of roles. And this is what we're doing too. We're erasing women. The left, the pagans, even in my RPG world where they have women equal to men as far as stats and swinging battle axes and stuff, that just erases womanhood. It doesn't make them equal at all. And it's pathetic that they're lying to women like this. Play football. Of course you can. You're wonderful. You're a woman. You can do whatever you want. That is a lie. Or you're like the firefighters. They're trying to make them firefighters. That's a lie to tell them they can be a firefighter. That is such a lie. You're lying to women. They will never achieve a success. They will fail. They will fail their co-firefighters. They will fail dragging up this horrible, heavy equipment up hillsides in the desert here in LA. They will fail at it. They will require the men to carry it for them. They will not be able to unscrew the caps off of hoses that are tightened there for a reason. That is pathetic that we're lying to women like that, and that we all accept it. And men like me get rebuked for daring to tell the truth about this. It's pathetic. We need to fight back. We need to fight back as Christian men and Christian women. And I'm sad to see Christian women having to step up and fight, for a lot of these things, the trans thing and all that. We men need to do it. Okay, so here's something. I'm going to go to gross now. So the White House Correspondents' Dinner is hilarious that they don't have any celebrities, no comedians, and no president. That's awesome. Forget them. This guy is in charge of it. This dude right here. Let me show you who this dude is. This guy. He's in charge of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Disgusting. This guy's gross. Ugh. Look, this is just gross. This is who this guy is. There he is. And I seriously, I think this is probably the most family friendly-ish version of his photos or whatever he's doing. Tell me he limits himself to what he does, like, morally. Like he actually has a limit to what he does morally. This guy says, he says that what does it say here? You truly have to be a sociopath, demonically possessed, or given over by God to your own depraved mind, a la Romans 1. Cool. This guy's bringing up Romans 1:18 to 32. Yes, absolutely. I don't want to go there just because I'm just okay. He says, he says that we're fighting. We care deeply about accuracy. No, you do not, because you pretend you're a woman, and take seriously the heavy responsibility. And because of that, he's deprived his mind. Heavy responsibility of being stewards of the public's trust. We don't trust you at all. We don't know you're massive liars, and you deceive on purpose, even unto yourselves. We know it. We know it. You still do it. We don't want you. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want your. I'm perturbed that you've got this sort of wealth and ability to buy suits like this, and people actually pay you for this. I'm perturbed by that. But there's a lot of evil people here on this planet, so it makes sense. This guy, he actually said, we got to self-reflect. He says it kind of in this mild tone that President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around is covered by the media, covered by people around him. Now it was you guys covered it up or tried to. Is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. See, they always get sort of self-reflective and truthful when a Republican gets in office, but they never do when the Democrats are in office. And actually, I remember that movie where they did a movie about how they got Nixon, how they exposed Nixon. Well, and then the Washington Reporter in the movie exposed through a couple lines Tom Hanks and Meredith, what's her name, the Bob Weinstein worshiper. She admitted in the story, in the character, that they knew about it during the Democrat, but they didn't do anything. They just did it on Nixon. And I think the other character's like, well, we got to do it at some point. They always do this. They always hide and defend the Democrats because they're evil, and they only become self-reflective and full of justice when a Republican's there, but only just to attack that person and to undermine. The Republican Party is the party that they still smell Jesus in. They still can smell Jesus in that one. The Democrats, they got the fake Jesus, they got the fake fawning and manipulation. But in the Republican Party, they can still smell the truth of Jesus. Let's put it that way, in that party. And so they will always attack the Republican Party. trying to get it to be rhino, trying to get it to be because I'm a Calvinist. They're programmed that way. They're programmed. We're all AIs, super AIs, but we're created in the image of God. So we have freedoms. We have creativity. We want to be storytellers. Just look at the Bible. We want to be like God. Not some of us are humble enough. We're not God. But we want to do kind of the things that God loves to do, which is storytelling, creating a good versus evil character arc, thing like that. We're created. We want to be storytellers, in whatever fashion, in our athletics, in our barbecue, in our jokes, in our raising our children, and we want to be. Anyway, yeah. So the media is a massive. Let's all lie. Let's all know we're lying. Let's all know they know we're lying, but still lie. That's what it is. And we now, the Christians, are waking up with apologetics. We're waking up realizing that they are lying institutionally, mass scale, all accepting these lies. We should have known better because the Bible already said it was going to happen. Now we're really understanding that it can happen. And Trump woke it up in the political world. Creation scientists woke it up in the science world, and creation science is exploding. It was so minuscule and small for forever, and only in the last 30, 40 years has it been exploding. I just wanted to show you something real quick. Gotta get this book. This was one of the rare books back in the 80s and 90s that really, I'm sure there was other, but that he just went after everything. Very, very like direct, astute. Let's see. I just want to see when this got published. But he's had a series of them. But he was sort of known, Walt Brown, and 1960. Oh wait, that's the Bible. First edition, 1980. So, and when he did this book, and it's a pretty interesting read. You'd have to be. It's got very excerpts of scientific stuff, just like all over the place, with all types of categories. Just dense, very dense, going after all the different issues of creation science. And there was nothing else. 1980, he was sort of like Dr. Atkins. He was kind of like he was sort of starting the. I'm this is the way I'm looking at it. I could be, some others could correct me and refine it, but he was there like a lone voice in the wilderness, and no other Christians were like, what's he talking about? We don't get it. Now he's known as like, wow, he really knew ahead of us all what they were lying about in evolution, and just a crazy PhD scientist that. And remember, in science, if you have 1,000 scientists all agreeing with the test results, but you have one who disagrees, it's that one that matters. If one says this test result doesn't work, all 1,000 others that agree have to redo their thing and defend why this one. They have to. They can't just say, "Oh no, we voted 1,000 to 1." No, that's not how it works. If one finds fault with something in the scientific hypothesis to theory to fact, all others have to reevaluate and then explain exactly in scientific fact why. They can't just no, it's not a vote. And if one still fights it and claims it, and they got to use science, but you have to it has to be questioned, put into question. Okay. Let's go back to this real quick. I'm just doing my little goofy rant. I'm just going to Proverbs 6. A worthless person, a wicked man, is one who walks with a perverse mouth. So if they have a perverse mouth, sexual mouth, pornographic mouth, masturbating to porn, fixated on their sexuality, is a wicked man. Who winks with his eyes, who signals with his feet, who points with his fingers, who with perversion in his heart continually devises evil, who spreads strife. Therefore his disaster will come suddenly. Instantly he will be broken, and there will be no healing. Well, that's up to the Lord, not us. God is. Remember, I love that God is vengeance, not us. So we don't have to go around terrorizing like the Muslims do and jihading. We don't have to do that. We don't have to be an atheist who kills Hitlers and Nazis or whoever they decide is Hitler or Nazis. I don't know, whatever. or sends them to gulags and imprisons them and has to do it. Otherwise, they're being liars, which they're, we don't have to do any of that. We just have to be the messenger. Tell them the truth. And, the one impressive thing we have is we kick them out of our church. That's it. It's like, I'm going to pray for you and kick you out of our church. Ooh, we're tyrants. There's nothing in there about us, having to do anything else, killing people or anything like that. Now, concerning the government, the way it works with Christian nationalists is, we should vote in a government and let that government, as a civil authority, deal with justice and deal with the hard facts. But the church doesn't have to do that, right? The church doesn't have to do that. But we do look for a moral government. We hope for, pray for, and we do politically be active in making a moral government. But that moral government is separate from the church for sure. So it's not like we're not like Muslims, right? Where they're together. No, we're not. That's not. Islam is not compatible with the West people, but the left uses Islam. They love Islam because it's their militia. It's their militants. They want it. They want it to terrorize Christians. They love in their heart that Christians are terrorized. That's why they're bringing Muslims all over. They can't help themselves. They don't mind suicide as long as they get after Christians. And they know Muslims will do it. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him. I love this. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. So we have a God, a creator, that's telling us what he hates. Do you like these things? Do you like somebody with haughty eyes and a lying tongue? I might have haughty eyes. Haughty. Not hot. Haughty. Arrogant eyes. Do I have arrogant eyes? I probably kind of do. That's probably why God's keeping me down, keeping me humble. A lying tongue. Definitely don't have that. I could have a wrong, messed up, layman's miscued tongue, whatever. Okay. And hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that devises wicked plans. Feet that run rapidly to evil. A false witness who declares lies. And one who spreads strife among brothers. So these people... Innocent blood. By the way, in Christianity, the only innocents are those that are not born. The unborn. Just saying. But innocent blood in the sense of they didn't deserve to be killed. Anyone for whatever it is they're doing here. And they, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood. So this is a false witness who declares lies. So a false witness declares lies means that they're accusing you of a crime that you didn't do. Right? The Democrats continually do this over and over. They continually false witness against Republicans and the GOP and American history and all that. They spread strife. They want their people to hate us, hate, to live in their emotional hate, so they will not talk to us. They treat us as us conservatives, Christians, as not humans that they can talk to. They don't want to hear anything we have to say about abortion, about their perversities. So that's... To me, that's a wonderful God. I'm so glad we have this type of God. All right, I don't want to look at any of this other stuff because this one's hilarious. This one's great. End on a high note here. So they put down these signs. That's awesome. I love that the second term is put down the illegals that have been arrested for all these horrible crimes. Convicted would be nice to have on here, but arrested is good because we know that the left will continually delay because and these people are illegal already, so they're going to be removed, but they don't get due process, just so you know. Illegal aliens, foreign agents do not get due process. They don't get freedom of speech. Imagine that, a foreign agent coming to America and getting freedom of speech. So you're saying that's what Democrats want. They want foreign agents here to come and criticize our government, to destroy the government, to weaken it, to break it down, to corrupt it. That a foreign agent has no loyalty to us, to this country. They do not get freedom of speech. If they're here to politicize and speak out against our government, they need to go back to their own country to do that, which is fine. Go back to your own country to do that. They don't need that here in America. They're here for business. They're here for tourism. They're here for visitation, whatever. But they're not here to disrupt the American political system. Let us fight amongst ourselves. We don't need foreign agents paid by the Democrat Party to come here to do that. And we don't need them to fill up our courts and get free lawyers. That is, Democrats pushing for due process is such a lie. That's such a lie. If you're here illegally, there's no due process. You're out. If you're not in our If you're not on our list, get out. Period. There's no due process. I mean, that's the due process. We find out we identify who you are. You're not on our list. You're not an American citizen. Get out. That's the due process. There's your due process if they want to claim that. But they don't get a lawyer. They don't get one of our lawyers. They don't get one of our lawyers that these, the Democrats get to be paid a ton of money to lawyer for the, our taxes for foreign agents. I think we should start calling them foreign agents. Anyway, I'll write that down. I think we should start calling these foreign agents, because they're here to destroy. They're here for the Democrat Party. They're here to cause strife amongst us. They're foreign agents. Anyway, all right. Great stuff happening there. I hope we keep fighting. I'm so glad that Trump's second term is about fighting openly and rebuking openly. We as the church need to do that. They've come into our churches. They have caused sacrilegious, heretical. Our churches are prime targets for them, for the progressives, for the gays to come in and destroy our churches. We need to be more. We need to rebuke openly. We need. I just wish we would go like literally and protest fake. These progressive churches. I kind of wish we would do that. I'm not going to go do it because I get crazy and I might wear that and swing that. It's not sharp, so I wouldn't be slicing heads or anything. I'm just bruising people. At least these ones are dull. But they can be deadly. But that's why I don't go out. I just stay home. But I'm doing this, and anyway, so we need. I feel like we I would go out if others kept me in line and check. Other fellow brothers. But I would not go there on alone or in a small group or something. I would go, as support or whatever. If there was an organized elders and people with more even killed heads than myself. So, and my church was organized in that sense. I wish our church. Christians we don't do vigilante, right? We do it through our churches, and I wish churches would sort of organize a protest against these progressive LGBT churches somehow. Openly, flagrantly, well, not flagrantly, that's what I would do, but organized and with care and love and all that patient stuff. Jude, the second last book of the New Testament, really warns about this, about the churches. They're going to fail. They're going to get corrupted with these soft words that are in the wind, totally pathetic, nothingness. But his solution sucks because his solution is all about love, whereas I'd be like, rah, the solution is all about love and care. But which the church should do. I wish the church would work on that, going after other churches, like cleaning house kind of a thing. Anyway, all right. In the name of the Father. In the game of life, everybody. Whatever we do in life, we got to roll holy dice. Yeah. All right. We do need breaks. We need, take your breaks. I understand role-playing games can be a break too, but think about it. Put in Christ whenever you can. Put in the gospel. Put in the Christian. Put in fellowship. With having a good time and a relaxing time in fellowship too. All right. In the game of life, everybody, roll holy dice.